Hey y'all, it's been a while. I've been working a little bit on the farm, projects, took a little time off to just soak in with my family, that stuff. And thought I'd bring you out to the pergola today, one of my favorite spots to come and sit and end my day. You hear my crazy dog in the background. Crazy dog. But I have like the most exciting news. So about 2 months ago, maybe a little bit longer, Emma and I came out and we ripped, oh my gosh, we cut so many branches off of my grapevine. And this grapevine, like, I'll have to try and find a picture and post it at some point, but this grapevine has been like massive. I mean, I love it so much. So I'm gonna like flip this around. So it covered all of this trellis, if you can see this. And you can see like a piece right there that I snipped, and then pieces right there that I snipped. And I got really like worried. There's like the end of one. I got so worried about, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, because this was happening. You see this? So, not worried because this was happening so much as that nothing was happening up there, right? So, anyway, I came out here the other day and there were these little bitty baby buds. Do you see that right there? That sweet little bud. And these leaves that are starting to come out. So why am I showing you all this today? Well, because there's a lesson in it for me. As Papa typically does, he told me a little story about this. And it went a little bit like this. I was thinking about the scripture that talks about him being the vine and we're the branches, right? And I had this grapevine. I guess it's been here, gosh, almost 6 years now. And looking a little haggard today. Oh well, COVID-19 quarantine. I literally put this thing in the ground and knew that it likely would not yield fruit for a while. My friend cut this grapevine and grafted it. She took a class and called me one day, and she's a childhood friend, someone I've grown up with for years. And she said, "Hey, I've got this graft of a grapevine off of my grandfather's vine. Would you like it?" And I said, yeah, that would be amazing. So literally when this grapevine came here, no lie, it was about this big around right here. Can you see this? Like compared to my finger? And I mean, or maybe, I mean, it was definitely not this big around. And it was probably, it had like, I don't know, 5 or 6 leaves on it. And it was probably about 6 feet long. That was it. And now, if you get back here and start looking, not at the wild onions, but I don't know if you can see that. It came up out of the ground where I planted it, and it split into 3. See this? And it came up and it twisted itself around, and it's just done its thing over time. And so every year I would think, oh gosh, I need to trim this thing back and clip it, because I know I need to prune it. But there was like this fear inside of me that if I pruned it and I cut it back, that maybe I would cut it back too far, or because I've never pruned one before, I wouldn't know exactly what to do. And so I didn't. I just put it off and I put it off and I put it off. And so finally this year I was looking at it and I'm like, oh, the Lord just kept saying, are you just going to do this? Like, you need to prune this grapevine. I was like, all right, Lord. So one very warm late winter afternoon, Saturday maybe, the girl child and the boy child and I came out here and we cut this grapevine back. And you can see how far I cut it back. And when I tell you that it covered the entire, all of this, it covered all of this, and it draped down over the front right here, over this post right here, all across it. It covered it all like it was crazy pants, okay? And so I cut it back and I would come out here and I would sit under it and I would say, please don't let me have killed this grapevine. And so, there's a couple of lessons that are in this. And the first one I want to talk to you about is comparison. Because the grapevine that I was showing you earlier, this one on the corner right here, is actually a little $5 grapevine that I bought at Walmart because it was like really looking sad, right? It was at the end of the season. And I thought, I'm going to put this thing in the ground and see what happens. So here's what's interesting. This grapevine I stuck in the ground when I bought it, kind of towards the end of the summer, and stuck this thing in the ground because it was just looking pretty sad. And I thought, I'm going to just put it right here at the end of the pergola on this corner, see what happens. And this was last year. And so when this grapevine came here, it might have been a foot long. Like, seriously, it was only a foot long. And so now you can see it's come up through there. It's like wrapped itself. It's coming on up. Now, here's what's interesting. And this is why there's a story in comparison on this. I looked at this, and when it started bearing these green leaves and getting buds, I thought, oh, I cut the one behind me back too far. And it's not going to bud because this already has fruit on it. I'm going to show this to you right here. Do you see these? So here are the leaves. The little bud you saw on the back one back there. They become the leaves. And then these are grapes. Like, that are going to come out. And it's going to turn into a cluster of grapes. This grapevine has a few leaves way up high over here on a branch that I did not get completely cut, like back up here, that one branch. That looks a little bit like that, but it's not bearing grapes per se right now. But the rest of this vine, if you look at it from afar, it doesn't look like it's got much going on there, huh? Like, look at it. And the Lord said, why are you comparing these two things? First of all, they're different varieties. The one on the corner that I got at Walmart is white table grapes. The one behind me is a Concord grapevine. And I've made, oh my gosh, tons of jelly off of this grapevine. And I said, well, Lord, this one's just a lot farther ahead. And he said, all in due time. Fruit comes at different stages, right? Different seasons. Sometimes it hurts to be pruned. It hurts. It's painful. It's painful to cut things off, cut things away from our life, to let the Lord really cut back the things that he doesn't have for us. And it can almost feel like death. Like, I really thought I had killed my grapevine when I cut it back a couple of months ago. And when that first bud came out, you guys, I'm not going to lie. Like, I cried the other day, a couple of weeks ago, when I realized it actually had little pink buds up there on it, and that it was actually going to make it. And I felt like in my spirit, Papa just kind of giggled at me and said, you cut all of that off and it's dead. It's dead. You cut it way, way back, and you have no idea what's waiting for you on the other side of this. You have no idea how much fruit I'm going to send. And you have no idea what it's going to look like as it starts to come out, and you can weave it into that pergola and use it for covering for a couple of years and then cut it back again. And it just got me to thinking about how I can compare something and how it looks when I'm in the waiting. When it looks like there's so much life over here on this one plant on the corner, and it looked like there was so much death behind me, right? In this big, massive vine trunk at the bottom that's as big as my wrist almost as it comes up out of the ground. And it's a reminder that we are to trust the roots, right? Those roots go deep in that original vine back there. And there is a time when we get pruned where we have to trust that the fruit that's going to be produced from that pruning is going to be way more beautiful than anything that could have come had we not been pruned and made room for all that God has for us in the season that we're coming into. So, all that to say this, don't compare to old things. Don't compare, something that's blooming over here in someone else's life or in another area and think that that thing that was pruned and cut back that looks dead to you really can't produce fruit anymore. But if we give it over to God, we've prayed about it and we've said, hey, I did this thing and I'm just going to sit back and I'm either going to let you prune it or I'm going to cut it out of my life and know that's not what you have for me. And I'm just going to trust that you're going to bring forth what you do want me to have in due season. It's pretty amazing what he'll send. So I'm pretty excited to watch what happens with this grapevine this season, especially because I've never cut it back like I did this year. In fact, I've never cut it. We cut pieces off of it to make a few wreaths out of, but we've never truly pruned it the way we did this year. And so to see these glimpses of life on here, I'm just looking at, you know, what does each one represent? What does each bloom represent? What does each leaf, what is it going to bring forth? How many clusters of grapes are going to come off of that one vine branch from that original vine? And God just has some really beautiful stuff for us right now. What may look like life across the way, because there hasn't been sacrifice and there hasn't been a pruning done in a person's life, or something that you can't see, while you're sitting back here going, oh my gosh, you know, I cut these things out. I cut these things off. I have followed your rules, Lord. I've done the things that you've asked me to do. It has felt like legalism at times. It could have felt like freedom maybe at the time. And then you're looking at it going, oh my gosh, did I just like commit some sort of like crazy death for myself in that area? But hang on. I want to encourage you that the blooms are coming and the blossoms are coming, and there is going to be so much fruit. And it's going to be beautiful. And I pray that it brings you joy in the end. So there's my talk for today. I hope you're all doing awesome. I love you. God bless you during this season of Easter, resurrection. It's Good Friday, y'all. And Sunday's coming. And, man, we have so much to be grateful for and thankful for. And whatever he's cut off or you've allowed him to prune, be okay with that. But be expecting the fruit that's coming, and be expecting the buds, and be expecting all that he has for you, because he is risen. And just as he is risen, we are also in him if we abide in that vine. And as those branches grow, there's going to be something beautiful coming. So embrace it. Love you all.